There are more than 200,000 empty properties in the UK, and unfortunately, derelict buildings are becoming an increasingly common sight. Many of these were previously centres of the community, such as churches and pubs. Maureen Baig visited a project aiming to give such buildings new life.
Imagine living in a society where helping people is more important than money, and everything you do is for the good of the community.
Well, that's exactly what's happening here. I'm at a place called the Craftory in East London. It's part of a project called Respace. They live on nothing, but at the same time give everything away. But how?
Our ethos is really very simple. It's based around space, so we will take an empty building, we will speak to the landlord and persuade them to let us use it for free. We get the community involved, we teach people skills, we hold workshops, and then when the project finishes and the keys are given back to the landlord, everything goes back to the community. The garden beds, the chairs, the furniture, pianos get delivered to community centres, the food that's left over goes out to feed the last few hungry people in the streets, so that way nothing is wasted.
The only money that passes through the project is raised at events in their buildings and used to pay bills.
You're not earning anything and you're doing this for nothing. So why are you doing this?
Everyone's walked past an empty building and thought, oh, someone should do something about this. I felt like it was something that I could do, you know, and I could help, because prior to coming into this world, I'd had quite a good job. You know, I'd worked in corporate companies, I'd worked in sales and marketing and promotion and advertising, and quite a lot of money. I thought I had everything: nice job, nice car, nice girlfriend, nice apartment, you know, and all of that kind of stuff. But it actually was never really making me happy. And then I hit some hard times in my own life. And, you know, my parents got ill, and then after trying to look after them for a few years and trying to help them, unfortunately they both passed away, and that left me quite cut off.
For a period after his parents' death, G became homeless and ended up living in a squat. He was inspired by the kindness of the strangers he met there.
Do you think your priorities shifted?
Yeah, definitely. It's like once you lose things that are that important to you, it brings everything else really sharply into focus.
And that focus soon turned to helping others by finding derelict and empty buildings and persuading their owners to let them be used for community projects. So far, they've been handed the keys to 3 buildings in London, with plans for more. 2 years ago, G and his team took over a social centre that had been disused for years and become derelict. But G's volunteers helped bring the building back to life.
They put the electrics in and they've rebuilt it and cleaned the garden, and they're building it bit by bit by bit and recycling and upcycling. And it's phenomenal that they've managed to do that and be open in this place that they said would cost hundreds of thousands of pounds to do.
Last month, the doors were open to the public, and the space is now used as a place to teach people new skills, some of which can be put to use on new projects.
In this place, a lot of handiwork is needed, so I learned how to use tools and how to do various works. Starting very slowly, just put it in the screw.
Yeah, and you just push down.
Push down, that's all.
Can I try?
Of course.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh my God, I think I've done it. Very good, thank you so much.
10 miles away, their latest project at a disused pub is in its early stages. Rob, who lives locally, volunteers for a few hours a week.
I've lived here 30 odd years. I used to drink in here when it was actually a pub, so it'd be nice to see an empty building go back to the public, you know, be used for something. We've got some wicked ideas here about art galleries, music studios, you know, there's some awesome space to be used. I think the more hands make light work, I suppose. We upcycling, we like to call it. We use a lot of old materials that people are discarding. And not just that, teach other people that don't quite know. If you want to help, I'll teach, and then let them have a go, you know. Use the tools, it's the only way you're ever going to learn.
But how do you persuade the owners of these properties to just hand over the keys? One of those landlords is Hackney developer Michael Gerrard, owner of the first ever building taken over by Respace in 2015.
You handed over your keys and said, use my space. Why did you do that?
The main concern is when you give the keys over is the security of the building. And I felt that if with G, with his team, that the building would be properly secured and that the events that would go on in the building would be good use and the community would benefit from that.
G and his team refurbished Michael's building, using it to put on community events, workshops, and as a space for people to live. After 3 years, Michael has now been given back the keys.
The building was used really well with the community, and it was put to very good use. I trusted G, and it was a big success.
And Respace are nowhere near done. They've got their sights on a disused church in East London, a place where communities have always come together to help each other.
To think that 3 years ago we started with nothing, and now we're discussing with these guys the possibility of using this for their local community. It's just incredible. There are 80,000 empty buildings in London, you know, just like this, you know, lots of them. If just 10% of them could be given to people to use, to learn and collaborate and share, then it's incredible what we could achieve.
Ah, what a wonderful project. It'd be so good to see more of those abandoned buildings having life put back into them.
Yeah, that's all from this week. Many thanks to